Good morning, viewers, and welcome to a midweek edition of the Economy and Politics Show, where we discuss the economy, policies, and how they affect the populace in Nigeria and beyond. Today, where we look at micro, small, and medium enterprises, we'll be discussing the opportunities for the renewable energy industry entrepreneurs. As you all know now that the renewable energy industry has become a well-sought-after industry as the tide is changing from dependency on fossil fuels to renewable energy. Nigeria is not left out in this new wave and strategic shift in economic balance, as it also continues to drive that source of energy and tap into the opportunities that are there. We meet to discuss these opportunities is the president of the Renewable Energy Association of Nigeria, Mr. Segun Adaju, who joins us virtually. Good morning and nice to have you on the show.
Good morning and thank you for inviting me.
Yes.
And well done on the great show.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you. First, we'd like to understand in terms of your classification, your association. We know that definitely there will be large corporations and we'll be having medium companies. Are there opportunities also in your classification for the small size companies, the solar energy entrepreneurs who also are trying to create value and carve a niche for themselves? Is that integrated in your association?
Yes. So we have the Renewable Energy Association of Nigeria that started late 2016, precisely November. And at the last count, we have about 125 members. And our members are cut across several renewable energy technologies. So you have solar, you have wind, you have biomass, you have small hydro, and then we're exploring what we call geothermal. We also have membership classification that cuts across all the value chain in renewable energy, right from the big dealers, importers, even people who are manufacturing locally, to the wholesalers, to the retailers, to the installers, to the project developers, to people who deploy mini grid, to even people who provide technology for the sector. For example, remote monitoring, metering systems, pay-as-you-go solution. Okay, so we are cut across all the value chain, and then we have members who are very, large corporates. I mean, while I was in banking, those days there will be corporates. We have medium-sized companies. We have SMEs, and we even have, enterprises. So somebody who just sets up a business name and says, I want to do renewable energy, we have some of them who are members. And so we surely have that classification so that we can capture everyone who wants to play in the sector. Interestingly, we even have student members. So
that's good.
Yes, if you're in the university as a student, you can join us. And it's almost for free. And we provide mentorship. I will support you in your business ideation and the rest. So that's how vast we are. We have people who are manufacturing solar panels in Nigeria who already are members. We have people who are producing inverters in Nigeria, they are members. And even people who are, exploring production of batteries. So that's the kind of classification we have. SMEs are very welcome, even sole proprietors. There is room for everyone to be a member of the association and also to play in that industry.
Definitely. I like the part of the student member.
Which means that at least we're going to really get them young and integrate them into the system. I know several years ago when I used to see people having solar panels and all that, and they talked about the cost, it corroborated what Heinrich Böll Institute, Germany, talked about the fact that it can be capital intensive in terms of renewable energy. We need some level of investments to subsidize and stabilize it. And you said last time we talked that you, for over 7 years, if I'm right, you've been using renewable energy or solar energy without means to connect to a regular electricity supply, which was interesting. But now the federal government is keying that into their economic sustainability plan. So they want to make it large scale. They're looking at over 2 million households. And there is this talk about the provision for 4,000 naira a month. If you can speak to that and how it's going to create opportunities for your solar energy entrepreneurs in your association and others who may have not yet joined. What does this mean to the industry?
Okay, thank you so much. First, let me take the comment about, okay, so, I mean, my own practical experience. And that's one of the motivation for me to go into this sector, that we can add so much value to me as a user. Then there are almost 208 million other people in Nigeria that can benefit from this. So by January, my system will be 8 years, and without generator. Okay, that's one. Secondly, also is the issue of the initial capital cost. So if you want to do the kind of system that I have in my house now, you will need between about 3 million, 3.5 million naira. Okay, so I mean, for a technology that you have not used before and you are not sure if it's going to work, you are scared of putting that kind of money down as an investment, as a user.
Yes. Yes.
But now there are very creative business models that has de-risked that setup. So you don't have to bring 3 million naira now to do that job. Last week, we did an installation for a customer of ours in Ibadan with the same size of what I'm using right now. And then the model is that payments to be done every month. It's like a lease. Okay. So you're leasing the system and you're paying every month for 3 to 4 years. So that would take away the need for you to bring 3 million naira down. It's all about business modeling. And thirdly, that also dovetails into what government is trying to do now in the Nigerian Economic Sustainability Plan, where government has a plan under the what we call the solar connection, solar home systems rollout. It's to benefit actually 5 million. About 5 million beneficiaries will be assessed, and it should impact about 25 million Nigerians. The idea behind it is that for every household, where most likely you have say about 5 people. Yeah. Okay, and the system is basically on a business model that has been learned from the private sector, which is pay as you go or lease to own. Yeah, and it's and people are expected to pay say about 4,000 naira every month, and then over the tenure of the facility. Yeah. But for me, it's a good initiative. It's something that is really highly welcome. It will definitely open up the market and show to people that number one, solar can work. Number two, you don't have to bring all the money now before you can access solar facility. Yeah. And then number three, people can actually have first-hand experience, and then they can rise and grow on the energy ladder. But this system is basically, it's called solar home systems. It should power some lighting points, maybe some fan, what we call DC fan, charging points for your mobile phone, your tab, and basically provide you electricity. It's highly very welcome, and I know, for example, some of our members in the association were already positioned to benefit from this as suppliers. So we're going to be suppliers to people who need those systems, working through the Rural Electrification Agency. There's a template of how you can access this facility. But for the end users, it's an opportunity to have solar products and test and see how it works. So it will create a lot of opportunity for first members of our association and also interested entrepreneurs who want to come into this space. You can be a supplier of solar solutions. You can be an investor in the sector. You can be also an installer and be somebody who is installing the system. You can be somebody who is providing some of the accessories that is required, cables, panels, and just name it. Okay, so it's a win-win for both the industry, for the economy, and also in creating energy access in Nigeria. It's a welcome product.
I just wanted to add, Mr. Segun, the
4,000 naira, is it only considering rural areas? Can people in mid-town settlements or in cities, can there be provisions, for example, for some clauses? I know GRS may feel big than that, or estates, but some street clauses coming together and say, okay, we sign up for this as alternative source of energy.
Oh, yes. I believe it cuts across every area of Nigeria, both rural, peri-urban, and urban centers. Although we have more energy deficit in the rural areas, so over 70% of between 70 to 80%, depending on the figure you're using, of people in the rural areas don't have energy access. I mean, several communities are not connected to the national grid. So they end up using kerosene lantern, candles, and then at times small generators. But interestingly, in the city centers also, I mean, you'll be surprised, in Lagos, there are communities where kerosene lantern is still being used, candles are being used, better pass my neighbor generators are being used, so, small solar lanterns are being sold even in Lagos. Systems like the one that MTN is partnering with a developer, it's also in the city center.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, although this will really impact a lot of rural areas where you don't have connections at all, but I can tell you, people in city centers also have the opportunity to benefit from this. Instead of using kerosene lantern and other polluting energy alternatives, you can also benefit from this scheme.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, these are very laudable initiatives coming through the Economic Sustainability Plan. But as you look at the globe today, like I started by saying that there's a shift, and everybody's saying that, yes, it's renewable, going renewable. Fossil fuels, oil and gas dependency completely wouldn't be the thing that will be sustainable. UK, European Union, they've also rolled out their green initiative plans that is giving a timeline, 10, 15 years, including Japan, to de-emphasize gasoline and fossil fuels and focus more on clean energy and, of course, reduce CO2 emissions and renewable energy. In Nigeria, are you seeing that coherent policy framework that is showing that, yes, in the next 10, 15 years, we're ready to go to fully align with a very clean energy environment, pro-renewable energy, industrialized nation, and ready to attract more of those investments that are required in the industry?
All right, thank you. To be very honest and also be sincere, I think the government has shown some traction in this area. And what my benchmark is to compare where we are now to where we were, say about, around 2012, say about 7, 8 years ago when I got into the sector.
Yeah.
Okay. So what was policy framework 10 years ago, and where are we now? I can tell you we have seen some substantial improvement in terms of governments showing some level of commitment and also providing some policy framework. I'll start some examples. We have a mini grid policy framework in Nigeria now that is seen as one of the best in Sub-Saharan Africa, and is encouraging investment and rollout of mini grids in very rural communities where there is no connection to the national grid at all. Number two, we're seeing agencies like Ministry of Power, Rural Electrification Agency, Ministry of Environment, everyone taking leadership in developing renewable energy in the country. Okay, so that's also a very good one. So Rural Electrification Agency is supporting the rollout of solar in universities, in primary health centers, in hospitals, and for example, Bayero University Kano is almost on a standalone right now with almost over 2 megawatts, if I'm correct, of solar and also some other energy sources. Okay, so we are seeing some policy that has been developed. There is the Nigerian Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency Policy of 2016. that creates some incentives. It has some targets of where Nigeria should get to. There's the Renewable Energy Masterplan that the Energy Commission of Nigeria powered. There's several of these, for example, the Sustainable Energy for All Action Plan that says Nigeria wants to develop about 13,000 megawatts of off-grid solar by 2030. So we're seeing a lot of action. However, much more still needs to be done to continue to promote the sector. And one of the commitments that government has also shown is, for example, under the Nigeria Economic Sustainability Plan, having a provision for the solar connection facility, which the Central Bank of Nigeria just launched, and we'll talk about that at some time. So policy is coming up. Government is showing traction at the national level, even at the sub-national level. And I will cite example of Lagos, of Kaduna, Borno State, Niger State, who already, and also Plateau State, even Ogun State, they are taking some initiatives in this sector. Lagos State has powered over 200 primary health centers with off-grid solar. I mean, amazing. And it's also getting interested in how they will have, a nexus between real estate and renewable energy. I mean, there was a real estate exhibition that was done last week, and the Minister of Energy and Resources was very positive about the plan of Lagos State. So yes, we can do better. We can still achieve much more, like Germany, Kenya, Ghana have done. But I think we have made some progress. And finally, I'll also cite the example of the medium-term National Development Plan that is being put together. I'm privileged to be a member of the team that is putting that together.
That's nice.
Yes, and I'm working on with my team. I'm working on the power and alternative energy group. The idea is to see how we can have improved power and also incorporate renewable energy into the sector. So there's a medium-term policy for up to 2025, and then there's what we call the Nigeria Agenda 2050. So renewable energy will take some very good position in these plans.
Very interesting. And you just said it will take a very key position in this plan. It is already taking a key position globally, as we all know that Senator Joe Biden of the Democratic Party won the last elections in US, and of course the election is the renewable energy, clean energy industry, and of course he has a plan, a green plan, over $1 trillion plan. And already this year we've seen, according to the American Investment Council, reported about $11 billion worth of private equity investment so far in renewable energy. And I dare say that will increase by next year with this direction. So with the Joe Biden, of course, presidency by next year for climate, clean energy, what is going to be the implication for global renewable energy industry and including Nigeria? He has already taken the step of appointing Senator John Kerry as the czar, as you would call it, the man to implement the climate deal, put America back on the climate agreement that was signed in Paris.
Okay, yeah, thank you. As an environmentalist and someone who advocates for alternative energy, basically renewable energy, I think it is good news for me and also the industry, I believe, that Joe Biden is the incoming president of the United States of America. For some obvious reasons. One, many countries met together 5 years ago in Paris and signed the Paris Agreement. And with America, taking the leadership in that step and in that direction. But when President Donald Trump came into power, he pulled out of that agreement. It was a major, it was a major shift and impact for climate change advocates, because America holds a very, very strong position in that agreement and also influencing the world. So it's good news that 5 years after, there is a very strong likelihood of America coming back into the agreement again. Very good news. Okay, so That's number one. So we're going to see a lot of traction in the next 5 years on issues addressing climate change. Number two, government, America is one of the top leading countries in renewable energy deployment, growth, development in the world. If you're looking at top three, I don't have my statistics right now. I don't know if China has overtaken them. So you're looking at America, China, and maybe either Germany, India, or thereabouts. Okay, so to have a country also coming back into the sector is also showing that in the next 5 years will be exciting, and it will catalyze a lot of investment, private equity, even the real deployment of renewable energy technologies in the world. And Nigeria is also positioned for that. There's what we call the NDC, Nationally Determined Contribution.
Yes.
That is the fallout of the Paris Agreement. And it is a kind of commitment that each country has made that voluntarily I will, without any, with what we call business as usual, I will ensure that my emission is reduced by about 20%. But that with commitments from others and support from others, Nigeria has committed to about 45% improvements in that sphere. So the world is also, everybody is, the climate change and the NDCs are being reviewed currently. Nigeria has developed its own sectoral plans of an action plan to make this happen. So we're seeing a lot of movement on the part of government. We're seeing a lot of people taking interest in Nigerian markets because Nigeria has the largest market in Sub-Saharan Africa for this technology in terms of population, in terms of the huge energy gap that we have, right? Yes. So it's a win for the climate war and climate advocates like myself that America is back in the game, and then we see what will happen in the next 5 years.
Definitely. It's your counterpart.
In the US, the presidents of the various renewable energy associations said it was a big boost for the industry and they're going to see massive investments. And already, like I said earlier, with $11 billion already invested this year, it is going to be, of course, the projections are very bright for more investments next year. But let's look at leveraging the financial and capital market. I don't know, is your association going to explore that, and also considering the fact that there's also huge opportunity in green financing, green bonds, and sustainable financing through the markets? Are there plans to look at that?
All right, thank you. So for the sector, there are various options open to industry players to raise finance. Let me start from, for example, when we have a nascent industry and you have startups in that industry, there are paths to which they can go through to raise capital. Number one, you start with owners' equity. They want to test the waters. They want to prove the business concept. They get to the seed stage. They raise their seed capital. Then they move to growth and expansion. And then maybe Series A. And before you know it, maybe they get to the IPO. And then they begin to raise finance from the capital market. So we're seeing that trajectory in Nigeria also. I've seen some of us already raising seed capital, growth capital. A few companies have raised Series A, $10 million and $9 million. One recently raised another another $10 million. And they're all members of the Renewable Energy Association of Nigeria. And I'm aware also that a few of us are also already looking at capital market activity. So looking at private placement, looking at bonds. We are also thinking of crowdfunding. I'm happy to know that Nigeria is already looking at the framework. Yeah, it's also a strong platform to raise money for renewable energy.
Those are opportunities.
Yes. And then on the green bond and the green climate finance area of it, there's also a very huge opportunity. I know, for example, Access Bank raised a green bond sometime from years past, about 15 billion naira. Yes. One energy company also, North-South Power Company also raised, some bonds. Federal government also raised some green bond that was oversubscribed, and they're also looking at the repeat performance. So this is also showing several of us that, hey, we can actually raise some green finance. Who says members of the association can all come together with batch all our portfolio of products and create a green bond around it and issue, and then see people subscribe to it. So it's getting very interesting. Yeah.
Definitely. Mr. Segun, I mean, it's been an interesting conversation. But
as we wrap up, let's look at the year 2021. The International Energy Agency, in its outlook for 2021, says that renewable capacity additions are on track for a record expansion of nearly 10% by next year, 2021. They are looking at two factors. First, the commissioning of delayed projects in markets where construction and supply chains were disrupted. And second, growth is set to continue in 2021 in some markets, such as the United States of America, the Middle East, and Latin America. I don't know why they didn't put Africa, but definitely Africa is part of it, where the pre-COVID project pipeline was robust thanks to continued cost declines and uninterrupted policy support. It tips India to be the largest contributor to the renewable upswing in the new outlook. So what's the reaction to this, and in capping it up, what are the optics for Nigeria?
Okay, right. So I agree that there are some markets that will really swing the sector in the coming years. As the world hopefully begins to deal with and recover from the pandemic. And I think, I mean, Africa is one of the markets, and specifically Nigeria. Nigeria is the most promising market for this business and this technology in Sub-Saharan Africa. I mentioned that earlier. Number one, size of population, and number two, the huge energy deficit that we have. I mean, 5,000 megawatts for 208 million people shows that there's huge business opportunity here. So Nigeria is a market towards 2021 and beyond. Secondly, we have seen how the technology has come to bear during this COVID era. And I'll cite some examples. So the world and Nigeria also went into lockdown. Several industries were affected. But one of the industries that showed some positive development in that area was the renewable energy and distributed energy sector. So one, you're having more people staying at home, so they require more energy. This is what we experience in Nigeria. Secondly, you're having so many people doing a lot of virtual activities. I mean, we're having this interview virtual.
Yes, sir.
Several meetings and conferences are holding virtually.
Yeah.
We had an engagement yesterday with Gogla and all the Renewable Energy Association in West Africa, 15 countries, and it was virtual. Before COVID-19, all of us would have met in Kenya, flying all over everywhere to go and have that meeting in Kenya. But it was virtual yesterday. Yeah. We saw health facilities, primary health centers, what's it called? Isolation centers, testing centers that were deploying solar during COVID-19 period. Igbobi was one of them. An hospital, general hospital in Gwagwalada, FCT was also one, and several others. We saw the Rural Electrification Agency deploying solar for health facilities. So we're seeing that nexus of energy, health, food, and agriculture becoming very, very vivid, and now also real estate. So it has shown that that sector is going to be the leading, that's renewable energy will be the leader in deploying energy solutions for use, for hospitals, for schools, for residential homes. I mean, for example, I'm speaking to you from my home office, where I'm guaranteed of regular power supply, and I've been here ever since the lockdown. I mean, it's almost becoming disinterested for me to return to my main office. I mean, that's how the world is coming now. But I'm guaranteed of perpetual power supply because I have solar on my rooftop. So that is where the market is going to, and Nigeria is positioning for that. And I also commend the government of Nigeria, particularly the Economic Sustainability Plan that will deploy 5 million solar home systems. The solar connection facility that CBN just rolled out, it will encourage local production. So companies will begin to set up local manufacturing, local assembling. It will create jobs. It will increase energy supply. people will begin to use energy for productive uses. It will
Yeah.
create employment and income. I mean, it's a win-win situation for everyone. And I'm pretty very excited of 2021 and beyond for the renewable energy sector in Nigeria.
Well, thanks for sharing that optimism for
2021, and we'll be watching out for the renewable energy industry next year. Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Segun Adaju, President, Renewable Energy Association of Nigeria, for the time, telling us the opportunities for renewable energy entrepreneurs in Nigeria as we begin to ramp up what has been a very unprecedented and interesting year. And hope to have you subsequently to discuss around the industry, particularly as the new year takes its course. Thank you once again. Thank you. Yes, thank you. And that will be all for today's edition of the Economy and Politics Show. You can join our website, www.proshenji.com, to watch our videos and read our news stories and reports and analysis. If you want to get some further insight into what's happening in the renewable energy space, on our website, you could go to the right bar, click on Power and Energy, and you will see all the latest developments around renewable energy and what's happening in the industry. To come your way again, thank you for watching. Have a nice day and stay safe.